right? I use that every day after I demoed it. Okay, great, super, thanks, Bruce. Right? I think you'll be presently, surprised with how you're able to. Again, we're not. There's no predictions here, but the idea is planning, right? How the market tends to, for whatever reason, again, I'm going back to my days when I was a youngster in the business, and again, I was taught how to do a lot of this stuff, right? And so, but 75%, we call that the last chance retracement, right? What does that mean? All right. LCR, a last chance retracement means, all right, again, we got this swing and we got kind of a retracement, right? So a retracement swing. So if it does not reverse from the 75%, or technically it's the 786, right? It's the square root of 618, right? So 786, but again, I just kind of use 75 as, because it's usually within a couple points. So just to keep things in the framework of quartiles. But if it does not reverse from the 75 or the last chance retracement, it will most likely go and retest the high and then potentially go on to the D level. Okay. Something to keep in mind, maybe make a note of, right? So I'm always measuring out with that 75. Yes, I measure out the 50. And of course, I have the 62% in there. That should be standard fare. But I also have that 75. All right. So again, we talk about quartiles quite a bit, right? So here's a 75. Uh, this was a 75. All right. So again, let's kind of look at this for a second, right? I mean, I know I take this low to high, right? So the overnight low yesterday to the high. And I'm just doing this, by the way, freehand now because I'm just thinking about it, right? So, I don't have every morning scripted here. It's just a kind of whatever comes to mind, what I want to kind of talk about, right? You can read the daily trade strategy, but I like to kind of talk about things where, while we're not trading, to kind of, use in your daily routines, right? So this low to high, right? So let's measure that out. Okay, there you go. Guess what happens in this case, right? 75% again. There's that 75% line right here. So, yes, this is after the fact because I want to show it to you. But what you want to do as these things are unfolding is you want to, once we have a high low swing in place, the question should be again, what you should be doing as kind of make it a routine is, right, if the market starts to kind of retrace, okay, but it hasn't really reached those key inflection levels yet, right? 50, 62, 75. Take a measurement, find out where those levels are. So this is your 50, this is your 62, and then of course there's your 75. Those are the ones that I'm really kind of most interested in, right? And so particularly when we get kind of a deep move, we tend to want to be focusing on the immediate action on our tick charts, right? And kind of get kind of drawn in on that action. But if you were to take a step back for a moment of that, right, get out of the weeds, so to speak, right, and take a broader, view. This is how I like to do it. You kind of I just use a 60-minute chart. You can use a 5-minute chart. You can use whatever you want, but I tend to use a 60-minute. And so I take that measurement, high to low. So and my question then I just asked is, where are those key levels on the bigger picture? Right? So if our heads are on the tick charts, execution charts all the time, you're missing the big picture, right? So we need to have that big picture. And the reason why I do this is because I'm looking at, remember, I'm thinking about what are the big institutional players, what key levels come to mind there, what are they potentially looking for and potentially reacting from, right? No guarantee, but again, we're looking for, that idea, right? So again, that anywhere between 50 and 75 tends to be, right? So that's the 50, the midpoint, right? And the lower 25 or 75, depending on how you're measuring it, right? From low or high, high to low. So, right, so that 75% retracement or 25 off the low, either way. All right, make sense? So you want to be paying attention to those things. All right. It's just, again, it's easy to overlook if we're not thinking about it, right? Just easy to overlook, right? Um, and again, I'm not trying to cherry pick these things, right? But if we would take a a look from this low to this high, all right. Again, I'm looking for prominent swings, right? So there's your 50%, right? So there's your 50. So that's obviously going to be one we want to pay attention to, right? There's your 62, there's your 75. But in this case, this was going back on the 24th. This was the prior high, right here. So you carry that forward, and then lo and behold, right, we got a touch there. Again, I'm not cherry picking these things. This is what happens quite often. So we want to be aware of what happens most often. We don't want to look for the outliers. We want to look for what's the normal reaction areas, right? So some people would call this a fair value gap, whatever. They can call them whatever you want, whatever you like to, right? But this is the law, right? This is what I call it, right? The law of alternating pivots. So what was once resistance becomes potential support. Okay, that's my term, law of alternating pivots, right? So, and again, just kind of do those measurements, right? And I think you'll be, like I said, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, right? So you can take, this, let's call this one. Let me just move the chart a little bit. All right. So let's go, from this high to low. Okay. So this big move down, right? So this measure from that high to low. And again, it's not always going to hit like to the number, but you can see here, the 50, 62%, we got the high there. So within that zone. And again, I'm always zonal, by the way, right? So I always like to, right, play the zonal game. So, when you get a kind of a move down like this, and then the market starts kind of, retracing back up, this is what's called your impulse move. And then this is really called your reaction move, right? Now, eventually this could flip over and you could say, well, this could have been an impulsive move. Now, yes, measured from the low here, and then, then it kind of switches, so, but if this was the impulsive move down, then this becomes the reactionary move up. So on the reactionary moves up, I'm starting to look at the 50, 62, and of course the 75 kind of areas, right? So just something to keep in mind. I think you'll find that, when what's the old adage of carpentry, right? Measure twice, cut once. Okay, so take your measurements, at least have an idea of where the potential, where price could go. All right, and also it's somewhat, self-fulfilling in that a lot of people are looking for those type of retracements, institutional people as well. All right, so this is kind of a universal, thing. So again, and typically what happens is people get blown out because they're at the wrong prices. They've entered at wrong prices. They've either chased. You're always going to have your chasers. Always, right? And you're always going to have those that are going to be, wrong-footed, and, just on the wrong side. So, all right. So something just to keep in mind. Obviously, you want to know where price is, in the scheme of the context, right? But again, keep making those measurements, not just on a 60-minute. All right, this is universal for any time period, tick size, right? So if you want to take measurements off of your, you know, smaller swings, do the same. It all works. Okay, at least you have some framework to fall back on and see what happens. All right, that's the skinny on the mini. Let's see if we have a good day. See if the Mr. Market, the trading gods are good to us today. We'd like to get a payday this week. We've been running dry for a while. I'd like to get a payday and not the candy bar. All right, dingity ding ding. Market's open. RTH market. And all the traders, dingity ding ding, all the traders in the ring. Yes. Yes. So with the cycle day 2, again, the normal, we'd be looking for some type of a rotation. We had a rotation lower, we had a rotation higher to the upper edge of the zone. See if we can get a, kind of the good rotations. I'm looking for good, rotations. Not these crazy things that have been happening. They overshoot and they just get everybody bloodied. But some good normal rotations. Give everybody, both sides a chance to make a few bucks. Okay, so if you're looking for A10 zone, there's your A10 zone down around the 31-ish areas, 31, 32s, for a potential long. Play on a dip. And again, if it doesn't get down there, that's fine. Market's going to do what it wants to do. Just going to stay in alignment. Thanks, Bo. Boaster. The Bowman. All right. One step at a time, one trade at a time. It's like Alcoholics Anonymous, right? One day at a time. Well, Traders Anonymous. One trade, one good trade at a time. One good trade at a time. You really want to take the high quality trades. Be patient. Remember, sitting and watching it doesn't mean you're not doing anything. It means you're being patient for, it's the monitoring, it's the observation orientation portion of the OODA loop that, really needs to, all portions of it, but the OODA loop, observation, orientation, right? So it's a lot of sitting and waiting, or hopefully standing and waiting. Sometimes I stand in my office and look. Right now I'm sitting. All right, and then just kind of, do the normal thing, kind of frame out where your levels are. You can draw your ray lines at the various pivot levels, and all that. And it gives you frame of reference. You have a standing desk on your Christmas list. Yeah, I've seen those. I don't know if it would certainly support my monitors here and everything. Maybe it would, but I don't know if they're that big. But I stand up. I have some room in front of my computer naturally, so I stand up and I do my exercises. You love it? Bo has one. What are they called? Verilux? Is that the name of them? If I recall, if I think correctly. All right. I think they're called Verilux. Yeah. So I have 6 monitors, um, and I was debating whether or not I should get kind of one of those, a single, one of those single curvatured ones, and then I can just put everything on one monitor and kind of spread them out. But I don't know. Single point of failure too, with no backup. So I'm not so sure that's a good idea. All right, so what do we got? So kind of this 40-ish, 45, kind of a tight area. It is cycle day 2, so we are looking for that, kind of two-sided rotation. Of course, Bulls have the ball, so we'll continue with deferring to who has the ball, and it's, of course, it's the Bulls, Chicago Bulls. You have 2 of the big curvy ones. Yeah, I could get 2 and stack one on top of one. I mean, it's essentially would be the same kind of layout I have. Instead of just having 6, just have 2, one on top of one another. But technically, the space wise is probably going to be the same. So I don't know if that's any real advantage, but because mine actually kind of curvatured the stand that I have. So you have one more monitors than one person needs. If I was not running the business as I am, I would not have as many monitors. That would be a fact. Would not have as many monitors. But since I'm running the business as I am, um, somewhat required. I probably have 2. All I really need. Because really, when you think about it, it's, I've seen these people with like 12 monitors. It's like, 327s. Yeah. Um, People with like 12 monitors. It's like you can only look at, so many at the, really one at the same time. All the other ones. Like I have my emails and things off to the side, so, you know, and I get some of my other stuff on other monitors that I don't really pay, you know. The main monitor I have in front of me is my execution monitor and what I need to see. Everything else is boys with toys, right? Gotta have the biggest. I have two 32s and I have 4 19s. You know, the square ones, the 19s. And that works really well for me. Oh, and then I have one 27. That's a vertical. I like portrait. All right, good. I'm back. Just wanted to make. Well, I was just testing the audio. All right, so we should be back for everybody on the audio. All right, so we got our 55 target, or within a tick. I think we missed it by a tick, right? 475. So 68.55. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. Who needs Mancini? All right, not interested in buying them up there. Again, that's the retest of those highs. All right, again, we're looking more towards the lower pivot levels here if we get the chance, which I think we will. All right, again, no reason to go chasing. NQ violation levels, yep. NQ is just actually touching on the D level right now. NQ tagged the upper D level, but nobody believes me. Only kidding. Yeah, in the violation levels, the penetration levels. I'm sorry, that's a call the penetration level is the upside. Penetration to the upside, violation to the downside. But we're splitting hairs. So here's your NQ. Here's your NQ levels.
This is the early look above and fail look. I had this audio on, just way too quiet in here. But yeah, so I was just highlighting in the room that I told David, you can see I took a
All right,
short
looks like we're
here
getting a little bit more of a pullback
because we
here.
did
All right, we'll see if we
you can
get
see here's the overnight high up here, overnight high
Lady Luck is on our side down a little bit lower.
68.51.50. When we came down and we test this low volume node, I kind of just hit it. I put the stop at above the high and I got a scale out of it. Yeah, that's that. it's also on the setups I provided. It's setup number five setup, the number five. It's the resistance cell, but we didn't quite satisfy the area. The area is more up here. Show you. Yeah, I forgot I had the camera on and give the play-by-play on this, but so here you can tell that we're bumping up against this November 28th high.
Do we
We
fill the
didn't,
gap?
we're not really at the area, but we did get the,
Cycle day two inside gaps tend to get filled. I don't know if it will today, but
you know,
for you guys on the crude oil short, target two targets
so
fulfilled.
this is December
Do an
1st
opening wave.
high, then you have the November 28th high. We didn't really satisfy the area, to be honest with you. We should have, the setups dictate the setup when I wrote it, it was 68.59 to 68.63. So yeah,
All right, stops in place.
this would be more of like a lower high. And I guess, look, I didn't ID this before, but you kind of have a trend line touch here. Let's drill down on this and look at it on a 60. I'm not feeling great about it, to be honest. You can see here on the 60-minute, right?
Looks
So
like we're
here's
getting a little bit of a dipperoonie here.
we tested the trend line, and now we're fading back down. So, could work for an early scalp to get the day going. I've gotten one scale out of it. 49.50. So I should have alerted you on the play-by-play as I got into it. But to be honest with you, this is my first day recording again, and I kind of dropped the ball on that. I'll get better with time. All right, so here we go back to let's take a look at our 15-minute chart, right? I want to change this look here. Load a different template on this chart. So that it looks more like the other one. Where's that template? Oh, here it is. All right. Let's get our background image plugged in here. Boom, make sure it fits. Okay. All right, we're all set now. So this is our 15-minute look. Yeah, you can see we're just inside. We hit this fib, and now we're pulling back. It's not a really a great trade for more than a scalp. So, oh wait, why did I move this? Yeah, this is the target on it, 41.50. You can get it. I'm gonna manage this aggressively though. I'm not gonna sit in this all day. Like I said, I just want to get something in early on the books. I also want to be able to log a trade for the stream.
Long 47s. Okay, thanks, Bo. Kind of being patient for the 810. We get a little test down there. Be like a test of the those lower pivots, maybe a little flush with a PKB type of thing. So the 810 seems to be in a good location.
I'm gonna have 41.50,
Anyways.
68, 41.50 bid. Yikes. Oh, Bo's long
Or
47.
a dip and a bounce.
Let's go 39.50. Let's see if we can get a little momentum here. Since we don't have anything really in the way. Let's see. Where's this single print? The single print is 39. So yeah, that's not really. We don't it's not really a good deal there, Manny. Yeah, we failed to get anything. What do we come down to here? 42 quarter. Yeah, let's just move to break even now.
We got some
Trail it
Fed speak
aggressively.
today. Bowman beginning at 10.
We're not going to risk anything on it. Typically, I don't trail this aggressively, right? I'm going to give a trade as much room to work as possible. But on this one, it being against the trend, a strong overnight trend. Again, another reason for this trade is that our overnight inventory is 100% long, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious. Let's take a closer look here. Slide this over, give our profile some more screen space here. All right, so here, I think we get down here, we maybe find some support at this single print, 68.39. But yesterday's close was
NQ long on the opening at
68.26.
target 1.
Right, 68.26 was our
Okay, so
close.
that and then stops in
Um,
place. So when the
68.2675
load
was the
starts,
close. You can
go
see
up
that,
and
I
then
mean, our mid is 68.32. About to get stopped out on that trade, and that's fine.
yeah,
We just
nothing
don't
below
we just don't want to
42s.
risk any more. This trade is still profitable. Yeah, so back to this, you can see that our overnight inventory,
Nothing below
it's
42s.
mostly long, right? Typically, what you're going to see there is a kind of a resetting of that inventory. Those overnight positions get liquidated, get taken out. Um, this is why I'm a big fan of any trade that I have pre-market. I kind of consider pre-market Globex and 932 different sessions. It's very hard for a position taken overnight to survive the open. At least not for me. So yeah, I typically take those off right when RTH opens. Just give me a reset, start me all over fresh for the day. All right, we're coming down now here into target. Target is 39.50 for a 10-point gain. All right, we just see this. We're getting this little taper here. Let's see. Yeah, we still have some momentum here. Momentum is still pretty strong. I'm going to go ahead and take it. Yep, 49.50 to 42.50, 7-point gain. There's the target. Cool. Not mad at any of that. All right.
All right, coming into the 810 zone. And you get the short side. Good job. Good job. Come on. Yep. Good job, Manny. Good job. Scenario number 5. Door number 5.
Actually, that was plus 8 points on the second scale. All right, so now we have a green trade in the books, right? Kind of makes the rest of the day easy. And one
24
of,
hour VWAP right there at the 40-ish. So they're holding that VWAP.
yep, you can hear David talking about that. We're holding VWAP, right? So let's just take a look at that here on our footprint chart. We have our Delta Trader footprint chart right here. You can see this little cyan line. That's our VWAP, right? Not really sure why it's not showing here. It should
First
be.
pullback, take trade.
Oh, I know why. I know why. Yeah, let me
All right. So they tagged VWAP, bounced off VWAP. So
yeah, I see why. I see why the sessions. Let's see, monthly weighted average price right here. I typically have this in cyan on all my charts, so let me just change that out real quick
geez, they only
here.
needed like another point and a half or so.
Two. I like it. I like it
Right, to
big.
get
I
down to
want to be
the
able to see it. There's our VWAP, right?
nice. It's amazing.
That's what David was talking about. So let me just go ahead and save this. Save this template. Cool. 15-minute
That.
all pro fib. Um, let's just see. Magazine logo. The logo. All right. So now I'll just come here and
So
I'll
that would
just
be something else to kind
load
of
that
keep in
temporary.
your, in the thought process, first touch, back touch, right, of VWAP area. Usually, right, kind of the first touch concept, get some sort of a reaction. Worthy enough for
All
a
right.
trade. And that's certainly not a PTG concept. That is just a market concept, market trading concept that everybody out there, knows of, should know of.
You kind of hear what David's
And,
talking about, right?
kind
It's a
of
great
once
point.
again, it's somewhat of a self-fulfilling,
I
thing.
think that everyone should to pay
Gets around to
attention
the
to that
VWAP. And
statement.
again, institutional traders, right? They all want to, benchmark themselves around the VWAP. That was 50 years ago. It's true today.
Yeah. So what he's saying is that,
That
it's
has not changed.
first touch. I think it's very important that everyone knows
So if
that.
you're an institutional buyer, you want to buy as much as you possibly can around that VWAP
Man, what a great,
on your order
hey,
throughout the
look at
day.
this, right? We scaled right here, right? We took the early exit
Right?
at,
If you're an
at
institutional seller, you want to sell as
41.50.
much as you can away
Oh
from that
man.
VWAP, right? If the market is going higher. Look at that. So close, but yet so far. That bastards.
Love it. All right. So we missed. David's probably pretty pissed right now as he missed his level by a few ticks. He's a very disciplined guy. Love it. Learn so much from him. I mean, I do learn so much from him, right? Day in and day out, David's a great
That was
trader,
frustrating.
a weathered trader,
Jeez.
you know.
Look at how close we were. I mean, literally. Oh well. Yeah. Man. Yes, I'm calling the market a rat bastard, and it is a swear word. The market betrayed me. Scoundrel. You dirty rat. Oh. All right, NQ on the opening range, got two of them. All right, so the stop will be moved to the target one level
All right,
in
guys. So
management.
we're just
We have
you know one of
that
the
locked in.
things that I want to touch in on here real quick is that you know like I took this counter trend trade, right? Okay, so just because I wanted to get something in the book and because I'm doing this stream with you today, but you know the idea is and I was quick on the exit, because it's a counter trend trade, and I kind of beat my. I'm kind of not happy at the fact that I missed a better long. I had the continuation long set up, and I missed it because I was picking up pennies on my way to dollars. That's something that we have to be mindful of. Learn from it. Right? I'm not going to act on it, but learn from it.
How many people do pay attention to that VWAP and have it kind of, in their thought process about, looking for a bounce or looking for some sort of a reaction off of that level? Anybody? Bueller.
All right, guys. So we see here we
I
have an
do.
incomplete auction at the
I
highs.
don't have an exact trade. Steve does. I don't have an exact trade. I ought to just take a flyer on those. I'll just do like a right side pivot. Just test it out. Steve does. I should have one. I mean, I just monitor it as a level. But anyways. All right, let's see where we go. So where's 50% back? Right, that would be roughly around 48 at the moment.
48.75. We can do a 2-point scalp here.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of thing. Like this case, it did. I had a bid sitting waiting on the A10 there, and it literally just missed it by a couple ticks. But yeah, that aligned well with the overall theme, rhythm, and the VWAP. Right. Moving on, nothing to see here.
Nothing to see. Nothing to see. Let's see.
All right, back up to the 55, 65 zone, our upper target zone.
Oh, look at that.
Not really interested in that area right now.
Yeah. We might have the we might have to stick this out for a, let's see. Yeah. Might not be that easy to get through this, cut through this area now that I'm looking at it. All right. We'll see.
First pullback, take trade.
All right, getting at least an initial rejection off of that zone. The VWAP still pretty much aligned with the 810. I guess there's Satan, yeah, Satan. I guess they're saying Putin is talking something about Russia strikes
Not sure how that
Chinese
happened.
bankers or something like that. And then you have oil spiking. We got stopped out on the third lot. Very nice stop out, actually. I'll take that all day long. Locked in that short with Putin talking, oil spiking.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oil spike like $2. No, more like $1. More like $1. Yeah, from 58.28 to like it's trading 50.